draft day, and in just a few short hours, there will be a new player in the Honolulu blue and silver. Hello and welcome to the Detroit Lions draft party presented by Miller Lite. I'm your host, Tori Petry. The Lions are poised for a big move, sitting at pick number 7 tonight. Will they go receiver, offensive line, trade down, or maybe even take a quarterback? There's plenty of options to consider, and we are going to break it all down for you here tonight. Stick with us over the next hour or so before the draft begins, and you'll be able to catch exclusive interviews with GM Brad Holmes and head coach Dan Campbell, as well as analysis of what could happen in round 1 of the draft. Special guests TJ Lang, Frank Ragnow, and Romeo and Julian Okwara will join us a little later on as well. So if you want to find out what's changed in the draft process under Brad and Dan, how Romeo found out it was his team calling his little brother on draft night 1 year ago, and hear about a potential new draft tradition starting here in Detroit, stay right here with us on the Detroit Lions Draft Show presented by Miller Lite. First, listen up, Lions fans. This year, it could be you who wins big at the draft. That's right, Miller Lite is giving away a year's supply of free beer and other great prizes like Lions gear to lucky fans. All you have to do to enter is tweet the hashtag #It'sMillerTime and hashtag #BeerForAYear sweeps, or go to MillerLite.com/LionsDraftDay for your chance to win. As we start our show, we want to hear from you, the fans. Who do you want the Lions to take at pick number 7 tonight? Do you want the team to trade up or trade down? Who's your favorite Lions first-round pick of all time? To participate, take out your phone and scan the QR code on the screen right now, or visit DetroitLions.com/PlayGM to vote in our interactive draft polls and have your voice heard later in the show. The QR code will be looping throughout the show on the right side of the screen, so make sure you don't miss your chance to play Lions GM. We're joined now on our draft party presented by Miller Lite by Lions team president and CEO Rod Wood. Rod, thank you so much for making some time to chat with us tonight.
My pleasure. It's a big day.
It definitely is. Well, we are excited to talk about tonight because this is kind of the culmination of a lot of work that you and Sheila Ford-Hamp put in earlier this year. You made these 2 hires in Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. How are you feeling about them now that you've seen them in action preparing for the draft?
I feel awesome about it. You go back, it seems like forever ago when we hired them because, once you start working together so closely with people, you kind of forget how long it's been. But I know it hasn't been that long, but it seems, very comfortable. Everything that we were hoping to get when we set out searching for a new general manager and head coach, I think we got in Dan and Brad. And tonight's maybe one of the first times we'll get to see the 2 of them in action and see the results of all this hard work we put together.
Well, you've seen them in action already, so give us a little bit of insight what it's like watching them work.
It's been great. And I want to say it's not just the 2 of them, it's the whole staff underneath both of them, the coaching staff with Dan, all the scouting staff with Brad, John Dorsey and Ray Agnew and Mike Disner and Lance Newmark and Dave Sears and Chris Spielman's been in a lot of the meetings and all the area scouts. It's just been awesome. And I think that the thing that's really encouraging is to see how comfortable everybody is sharing their opinion. And even if it differs from somebody else's opinion, everybody has a perspective to bring. And I think, the more different points of view we have, the better off we'll be. And I think we'll do as good a job as we can not to miss something and land the right players for the Detroit Lions this weekend.
What new perspective do you feel like Brad and Dan have been able to bring into this draft process? You've been through a couple already, so now that you've seen how they do it, what new perspective do they have?
Certainly I would say, Brad has brought a lot of things that, we talked about in the interview process, analytics and looking at the player both on the, the tape and, pro days, but then also, how athletic are they? How intelligent are they? Do they love football? And as we've gone through the draft process with virtually every player, we've looked at it from all those different perspectives. And I think Dan, as an ex-player and coming from a different organization than Brad with the Saints most recently, he brings a perspective that's, kind of from the player side as well as from the New Orleans approach. And you put the 2 together and then you add in all the coaching staff and the scouts who've, been in different organizations. It just is a breath of fresh air to see all these different perspectives. And I can tell you we've met and met and met and met, and we're still, going through the process of finalizing everything for tonight, and it's just been awesome.
Okay, you're in that draft room. Give us a bead on what the sense is, the excitement around having that number 7 pick, getting to pick in the top 10, and having so many options available to you.
Well, it'll be exciting. Obviously, picking early is not what you'd like to do. We'd like to have a record where we're picking in the 20s or maybe even in the 30s, but we are where we are. And obviously, picking at the top of the draft, you should have options available to you that are amongst the best players. Obviously, at this point, we don't know what's going to happen in front of us. There's been a lot of speculation about how many quarterbacks may be taken. Obviously, the more quarterbacks that are taken, it pushes other people down. So we're doing all kinds of scenario planning as to who might be available. As Brad has said, there's a group of players that we're very comfortable with. And if they're there at 7, we'll be excited. And if they're not, we'll be talking about other things that we can do. But right now, I think we're as prepared for every outcome as we could possibly be. And we'll just kind of watch the first couple picks come off the board, and then we'll see how we feel about what we think might be there at 7.
All right, we won't ask you to give too much away, but what can you give us about what Lions fans should expect from those two guys and their moves tonight?
I think what Lions fans should expect is we've got a great organization, and we're going to add a great player tonight, and we're going to add great players tomorrow night, and we're going to add great players on Saturday. And I have the utmost confidence in the two of them and their staffs that we're ready for every potential outcome. And we're going to build a team the way those two have envisioned it and the way the coaching staff has envisioned it. And I guarantee on Saturday night we're going to be a better team.
Well, we are looking forward to it. Rod, thank you so much for taking some time with us.
Great, Tori. Have a great day.
With that, let's get into talking about these draft prospects. And for that, we're bringing in Tim Twentyman and Mike O'Hara from DetroitLions.com. Tim, Mike, it is so good to see you guys on draft day. We are excited for all the action that is going to go down tonight. Tim, what's your sense of what you're expecting for round 1?
Well, it's going to be interesting at the top, obviously, with the top 3 picks, and we'll see how the quarterback situation shakes out there. You know, you expect that 3 quarterbacks will go 1, 2, 3, and then really the draft starts with Atlanta at 4, and we'll see where they go. If they go quarterback, that puts Lions in a terrific position at number 7, where they could potentially have their choice of the best pass catcher in Kyle Pitts, the best receiver in Jamar Chase, and the best offensive lineman in Penei Sewell. And I don't think if you're Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, you can go wrong with any one of those 3 guys at number 7.
All right, Mike, you and I talked about it on the One Pridecast presented by MGM Grand Detroit. We talked through what your mock draft was then, but I know there's always a new one right before the draft starts. So who was your final pick for the Lions at number 7?
I don't think I've ever spent more time on a draft pick this high and gone back and forth more times than I have on who the Lions are going to get at number 7. And that includes dropping back, trading, and all that. And I think I've settled on Rashawn Slater, offensive tackle for Northwestern. Look, we have a media mock draft on NFL or DetroitLions.com, and that's out today. The media members have what they call a dream pick and a reality pick. And for me at 7, it's both of them. The dream pick is, to me, Penei Sewell from Oregon. The reality pick is also Penei Sewell from Oregon, but it all depends to me on what happens with the Cincinnati Bengals at number 5. And I checked in as late as yesterday afternoon. They've been on Penei Sewell from the beginning. Jeff Hobson, who's the Tim Twentyman of Bengals.com, does very thorough in everything and gives it to you straight up. And yesterday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it was a flip of the coin. Well, my mock draft was already in by then. But for me, I think Rashawn Slater would be a terrific pick for the Detroit Lions. I think Penei Sewell would be just a little bit better because he's a little bit bigger and a guy to anchor right tackle for him. But for now and forever, I'm married to this pick now. It's Rashawn Slater.
I like it. Taylor Decker said he'd be totally down if the Lions took an offensive lineman in the first round tonight. Tim, what's your take on those 2 offensive tackles there at the top of the draft between Penei Sewell and Rashawn Slater? What sets them both apart?
Well, I like them both. I thought when I talked to Penei Sewell, I thought his line where he says he plays the game with bad intentions. I just kind of love that line from a right tackle, right? He's the bigger, nastier of the group. I think when you look at Slater, he's a little bit smaller, not much, but I think he's more of the technician. He's a guy that's a little bit probably more versatile, can play all over, even inside. So I don't think, like Mike said, you can go wrong with either guy. And I just think, what a home run pick for Brad Holmes in his first draft at number 7, not only because of value. We talk about quarterbacks, pass rushers, and tackles being the highest value in the draft. So at number 7, you get the best tackle available if it's Penei Sewell. And then you've got Taylor Decker at left tackle. He signed that 6-year extension last year, right? You've got Jonah Jackson, who had a terrific rookie season. You've got Frank Ragnow, who they picked up the 5th-year option yesterday. He's going to get an extension down the line, and you expect Big V to play better when healthy. And if you add now a Penei Sewell or Rashawn Slater right side, your Brad Holmes, that offensive line is young, talented, deep, and it's set for years to come. And so now you can kind of just put that on the back burner and then focus on everything else you need to do. So yeah, I think taking a tackle at 7 is a home run pick in Brad Holmes' first draft.
But Mike, you said you went back and forth on this pick. You really had a hard time deciding. And the last time we talked on the podcast, your pick was wide receiver Ja'Marr Chase out of LSU. Give us your thoughts on those receivers in this draft.
Well, he's not overly big. He's 6 feet, 200 pounds. That's not like Calvin Johnson's big. Ja'Marr Chase is well built, but he's not big. But he's got great hands, great route runner, explosion, and he can take it to the house. He can split the gap, and he's gone. And you've got 6 points just like that. I think is he an all-time great? I don't know about that, but I think aside from Pitts, I think he's the best receiver in this draft, and by a pretty substantial margin.
All right, look, I don't mind talking about my Florida guy in Kyle Pitts. Chances are slim that he's there at number 7. Tim, the Lions just took a tight end a couple years ago in the first round when they selected TJ Hockenson. He was your guy that we talked about all year long during those pregame shows during the season. But what would it mean to you if the Lions were to take a tight end, but you called him a pass catcher in Kyle Pitts?
Yeah, and that's really how you have to describe him. I mean, look, he had 12 touchdowns in 10 games last year, but 5 of those were in line as the tight end. 4 of those were out wide, and 3 were in the slot. So, I mean, he's a guy that you can play all over. Look, he's 6'6", 245 pounds. He runs a 4.4 40. So he's a matchup nightmare is what he is. So, imagine a situation where you have, Tyrell Williams, on the outside, their new wide receiver, their deep that they got. And then you have TJ Hockenson in line on one side. You've got Kyle Pitts either in line, standing on the slot on the other side. And then you've got a terrific back in DeAndre Swift coming out of the backfield. All 4 guys who can make huge plays in the passing game. Well, how do you defend that as a defense? And when Kyle Pitts and TJ Hockenson are on the field together, who gets the linebacker? Who gets the safety? And so, I think it's just such a mismatch nightmare that I think Anthony Lynn would have a terrific time, pairing those 2 guys together with some of the other weapons that they have. He truly is a pass catcher. He's got an 83-inch wingspan. So, you talk about the catch radius, right? And just a guy who's going to be really friendly to a quarterback. And when you got 2 of those guys and then some of the other weapons they have, it would just be really a matchup nightmare for opposing defenses with Kyle Pitts, TJ Hockenson, and the other guys that they've got on the field.
Well, Mike, I know your take is that Ja'Marr Chase is the best receiver in this draft, but there's a couple other guys that have been in the conversation for the Lions as far as mock drafts go, and that's those 2 Alabama wide receivers in Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith. What do you think of those 2 guys?
Well, Devontae Smith, won the Heisman Trophy, and I think would have 117 catches or something like that for Alabama. But there's something about, 6 feet tall, 166 pounds. I heard Desmond Howard refer to him this morning on ESPN as the Slim Reaper. I just think I'd like a guy built a little more substantially than him. Look, he's a terrific player, terrific college player. But this isn't college. Well, these are grown men who've got mortgages and lifestyles and all that, and they're not just going to let you wander around out there and catch passes without, putting the leather on you. Waddle, I like him a little bit better. I think he's more dynamic. I think he's more dynamic coming out of his routes, and I think he can do just as much for you as Devontae Smith would, and maybe hold up a little better. Now, having said that, I know he got injured his last year at Alabama, but I really like Waddle. If I had to take one receiver out of this group whose name isn't Kyle Pitts, it would be Waddle.
All right, say the Lions do trade back. Tim, what are maybe some names you could see them targeting if they trade back in this first round?
Well, Micah Parsons, like we talked about, we'll see if he's still there. Some think he's a top 10 top 10 picks. Some think he might slip back into the teens. And so that's obviously, I think, the biggest position of need on the Lions defense right now is bolstering not only the talent, but depth at linebacker. So there would be another one. But I think that puts, the cornerback into play too. And maybe Lions fans don't want to hear that after selecting one, number 3 overall last year. But Patrick Surtain II is arguably the best cornerback. And there's a need there too. Now you went and got Corn Elder and some veterans in that secondary this offseason in free agency, but those guys are only on their 1-year contracts. So you've still got a long-term need at that position. And then, I think some of the pass rushers are in play too. You can never have too many of them, just like corners, guys like, Jalen Phillips and Cody Pay from Michigan. I think if the Lions move back, I think now there's a whole new set of players, a lot of them defensive guys that fit into play.
All right, we will wrap up with this. Mike, I know you've always got some sort of bold prediction up your sleeve, and you never know what could happen on night 1 of the NFL draft. So what is your boldest prediction for tonight, Lions or otherwise?
Well, when I'm done with this one, Tori, you can tell me whether I should put in the black chips, the red chips, the green chips, or just keep them in my pocket. But I don't know how bold this is, but I think that Brad Holmes is going to trade down in the first round. How far, I don't know. And I really wouldn't want to go past number 12. But look, you've got to build this roster. And the way you do it is with what we call draft capital. Now, the Lions have some future picks already from the Matthew Stafford trade on January 30th to the Rams. And they've got an extra first-round picks in 2022 and 2023. But who wants to wait that long to start adding to your arsenal? And the way to do that is to get extra picks. So I think he'll do that. And he might do it more than once, too. I think it'll be a good move. And I think the way the boards are set up right now, you still could get maybe Rashawn Slater all the way down to number 12. That's possible. And maybe Micah Parsons from his 10, as Tim has talked about. Micah Parsons might be there, 10, 11, 12, whatever. So you're going to get a good player. And I think you're going to add to your arsenal of draft picks.
Mike, I could definitely see it happening. I think you could afford to put some chips on that one right there. But we will find out for sure tonight when the Lions come on the clock at that number 7 pick. Guys, thanks so much for joining me, and we will chat with you again tomorrow night once we find out who it is the Lions draft. Stick with us, guys, because we will be back right after this quick break.
Don't you think? Definitely.
We will build a winning and inspired culture to serve the best football product to this great city of Detroit so we can compete for championships on a consistent basis.
That's why I'm here. I wanted this job bad because I felt like I knew this community. I played here. I know that Detroit's made up of great people, some really good people. This community is strong. I think this is special because I know this, when we bring a winner to this city, it's going to be something we can all be proud of.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Lions Draft Party presented by Miller Lite. For this year's draft, there are even more ways to get into the game thanks to Lions Bingo presented by BetMGM. Lions fans can play along for free each day for their chance to win great prizes, including the daily grand prize of a Lions autographed item and prize pack. Just download the Lions mobile app and register to play Lions Bingo. Play along during the draft, and once you hit bingo, you score courtesy of our friends over at BetMGM. Learn more and lock in your Lions Bingo board each day before the draft by visiting the official Lions mobile app now.
TJ, what's going on here?
I crushed that, Tori. Don't even lie. I crushed that.
I turned my video off for 30 seconds, and here you are taking over my job again. Didn't you do this during training camp?
Yeah, they didn't tell me you were going to be here today, though. My sincerest apologies.
That's it. I'm telling them not to invite you back for anything.
It's just an audition, Tori. It's just an audition. It's for my own resume.
Yeah. All right. Well, you did a decent job with it. So while I have you here, I want to talk offensive line with you. We were just talking about it with Tim and Mike and the possibility of the Lions going O-line at number 7 tonight. How likely do you think that is?
Well, I think it's very likely, depending on how the draft goes. When you talk about the offensive line, the first guy you talk about is Penei Sewell out of Oregon. Didn't play last year, but won the Remington Award the year before. The guy is just a phenomenal athlete. 6'5", 330, but moves like a tight end out there. And it'll be interesting to see what kind of the Lions are thinking with the offensive line they already have in place. Do they think that Vaitai is going to be that starter at right tackle? They obviously know they're set at left tackle with Decker. They're set at one of the guard spots with Jonah Jackson, and obviously set at center with all-pro Frank Ragnow. So if you take a guy like Sewell, do you put him at right tackle? Do you move Vaitai back into right guard? Those are all kind of things that just kind of sort themselves out. But depending on how the top 6 drafts go, the picks go, if a guy like Slater and a guy like Sewell are there, I think it's a pretty high chance that one of those guys is going to be wearing a Detroit Lions uniform. Mostly because you hear all the talk about Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, and it's just old school football. It's punch you in the mouth. There's no better way to do that than to get the run game going. So those guys obviously love the big guys too. It's going to be interesting to see how the board kind of falls tonight. If Sewell's there at number 7, I think it's not the sexiest pick. It's not a stud playmaking type of guy, but he's a guy that can anchor your offensive line for many, many years to come.
All right, enough with the old timer. Let's bring in somebody who's a little bit more spry at the position. That is Lions center Frank Ragnow. Frank, thank you so much for joining the draft party. What are you up to this weekend?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me. I'm actually honored and privileged that tomorrow I will be announcing our 2nd round pick. So I'm pretty pumped for that. So I'll be in Cleveland on the scene, on location, announcing the pick. I'm a little nervous. I'm a little excited.
2nd round pick actually makes you kind of know where you're at on the totem pole. If you were picking announcing the 6th or 7th round pick, I mean, okay, but 2nd round, dude, that's pretty good for you, man. You've been making a lot of news lately. I'm really proud of you. You've come a long way.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'm honored.
Well, speaking of making news, just before the draft got going, we heard that the Lions picked up your 5th-year option. Frank, congratulations. How you feeling about that?
Thank you, guys. I'm honored. It's a very big blessing to my family, and I'm just honored that the Lions value me enough to pick it up. So I'm excited. Another year here in Michigan, fishing and playing football.
Well, I think I could speak for Tori and the rest of the fans where we all hope that it's more than just one more year after this year. But you deserve it, man. I remember you coming in as a rookie and just working hard and grinding. And, to have this now, the 5th-year option, it's got to give you a little bit more security. And obviously, in your mind, kind of cement just the status that you've kind of achieved through hard work. So good for you. I hope it's not just 5 years and gone. I hope you're in Detroit for a really long time, but obviously there's a couple years before that plays out, but congratulations, man. You definitely deserve it.
Thanks, TJ, man. Wouldn't be here without your guidance as a vet.
It's not true at all.
What a heartfelt moment. Wow, I feel honored to have been here on this video chat with you guys for that one. Frank, me and TJ were talking before you hopped on the call about the Lions possibly taking an offensive lineman tonight in the draft. What would your feelings on that be if the Lions went O-line at pick number 7?
I'd be pumped. I mean, there's never a bad time to add a big man to the team, add a big man to the room. As an offensive lineman myself, I really, I love the position and I love guys who play that position. Offensive linemen are the right type of people, so I would be excited, and it'd be always cool to add another guy in our room to make us even better up front.
Now, you pretty much are going to add at least 1 or 2 offensive linemen. I mean, it just happens every year. It doesn't matter if it's a 1st round or an undrafted guy. I just want kind of your opinion. What would your best advice be to an offensive lineman that's coming into a room like you guys have in Detroit?
We got a good room, bunch of good guys, and I would keep my head down. I would keep my head down and understand that the way you earn respect in this league, or at least in my opinion, is by showing it. And whether that's on in the meetings, displaying your answers if a coach asks you a question, or if it's on the field showing how you're working your technique, perfecting your craft and whatnot. I would keep my head down and kind of stay down until you come up, or whatever that saying is.
Be a good rookie. I think that's what you were saying. Be a good rookie.
Basically, be a good rookie. honor your rookie duties, whatever those are.
Exactly.
And,
we took it easy on you. We took it easy on you too, Frank. I remember we took it easy on you, but be a good rookie. I think is always a good tip to the new guys that come in.
No doubt.
Yeah, Frank, what was that guy like when you were a rookie? How hard did he give you a time?
TJ was a great vet. I mean, there was definitely some things he had me do, but no, seriously, honestly, he would send me texts. He was there for me, especially because I had some times during my rookie year where I was really like mentally struggling, and he was really there for me and kind of picking me up. Maybe not in front of all the guys, but the way he handled it, I think, was perfect. It's just like he might give me crap in front of the guys, or he might display those rookie whatever, but I knew at the end of the day he had my back. So TJ was a great vet, seriously.
It's getting awkward, Tori. We're not used to complimenting each other like this.
I love it. Well, I love that you guys got to know each other through your time in Detroit. And Frank, I'm curious if you've gotten to know your new quarterback at all yet. Jared Goff, have you been able to reach out to him, chat with him, get to know him at all?
Yeah, he reached out to me initially right away, and there's been kind of fluid conversation going back and forth. And now as we go through install during the OTAs right now, there's a lot of communication going on. So he seems great. I'm excited to meet him in person. Seems like a good dude.
I mean, that is a pretty intimate position between the two of you, being so close all the time. But how quick do you think it's going to be a transition? Because obviously your whole career, early career so far, you've only played with one quarterback, right? Matthew Stafford, a couple other guys here and there. What's the transition going to be like, and how do you expect how long, I guess, it will take to get used to maybe a new snap count, new cadence, new kind of verbiage? Because everybody's a little bit different. The timing might be a little off. Things might be a little different. Do you think that's something that you guys will probably hash out in a couple of days, or maybe it'll take a couple of weeks?
I think, honestly, it takes a while. I think, especially with cadence and going from a new guy, and it's not just me, it's everybody up front. I think it takes a while, and I think that'll be something we'll have to sort out, whether it's through mini camp, OTAs, or training camp, however we figure this out. It's something that, it's slow and steady, but I think by the time the season gets started, that the communication will be hopefully pretty dialed in.
Well, we are looking forward to seeing you and Jared and the rest of this Lions team in action in the fall, and also looking forward to seeing you make those picks on Friday night. Now, I got to ask you, how soon should whatever rookies get selected, how soon should they expect to go fishing with you, Frank?
Yeah, they got a free spot in my boat right away. That's the perks of getting picked by Frank Ragnow. You get a free spot in the Grizzly Man Outdoors boat, so that's huge.
And a spot on the show.
Yeah, wow, what a win.
I love it. Well, Frank, thank you so much for hanging out with me and TJ. TJ, we appreciate you joining the show as well. Guys, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Tori.
Thanks for having me, guys.
See you, Frank.
It is always a trip catching up with those two guys, but we've got two more Lions that you guys are going to want to hear from tonight, because they had a pretty exciting night this time last year, and that is the Okwara brothers. Romeo and Julian, thank you so much for joining us on the Draft Show.
Thank you for having us.
Well, this was a pretty remarkable weekend for your family last year. You guys were both in the room when Julian got the call that he was going to be joining your team, Romeo. First off, I'll ask Julian about it. What are your recollections of that draft night?
I didn't have to wait long. It was day 2, so I definitely had I was I'm from Charlotte, and I grew up a Panthers fan, and then I think 2 picks ahead was the Panthers coming up, thinking I was going somewhere, and then I get a call, and then it was the Detroit Lions coming up on the phone. It was pretty surreal just getting drafted and being able to play with my brother. So definitely been a long time. Something I've dreamed about since I started playing football. So it was pretty exciting.
Romeo, give me the play-by-play from your perspective. At what point did you realize it was the Lions on the phone?
I think when he was on the phone, I got some text messages from some people in the building with line emojis, and that's when I knew, and I was kind of whispering in that video saying oh, I think it's the Lions.
I know, that video is truly iconic. Take me into what was going through your head when you're finding out my brother's actually going to be on my team this year.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. It's something
I didn't really think it was going to happen, but like once it was actually happening and it was a thing, it was kind of surreal. Like he said, like definitely a dream come true, just being able to play with my brother on the same team and like, I guess share that experience together.
Well, Romeo, when you re-signed with the Lions this offseason, you said that your brother getting drafted to this team was a big reason why you wanted to come back. How soon did you know, hey, I think I want to do this for a little bit longer with my brother?
Yeah, it was definitely something that was on my mind during the whole process. I mean, the Detroit kind of made a commitment with the Okwara brothers, so I figured keep it going.
Julian, what was your reaction to your brother's big payday?
I mean, I'm pretty excited for him getting paid regardless. I mean, it was pretty. I mean, I'm definitely glad that he's coming back to Detroit. I think we got a lot of things to do, and we definitely want to change everything that's going on in the building and just everything for Detroit in the future. So I think just being on the same team, be able to create that legacy, whether it's with the Lions, just like keep building on that. I think we're pretty excited, looking forward to the future of us being on the same team.
Well, and you have a new little addition to the family there. Introduce us to this, Romeo.
This is Ruby. She's biting my fingers. She's my new puppy. We're going to join Samo, my French bulldog, so it's going to be a rowdy household.
Absolutely. But you still don't have Julian on your couch, right? You've kicked him out. He's got his own place now.
Yeah. You gotta move. Gotta get his own place now. Gotta grow up, you know?
Well, Julian, I know you want to see the field a little bit more here in 2021, but what has this last year been like? Having your first year in the league, but having your brother right there with you every step of the way to kind of give you tips and pointers along the way.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a surreal experience being able to, especially my first game when I was running down there on kickoff. I mean, the season didn't really go the way I wanted to with an injury, but I'm definitely looking forward to a healthy season this year coming up and just be able to prove myself and just make my name wherever it is on special teams, defense, doesn't matter. Just do everything I need to do, get on the field and produce for the defense, do whatever the coaches ask for me. So I'm definitely looking forward to the season, especially playing more beside him. And then I'm pretty excited overall to be playing football again. So.
How about your favorite memory together over the course of the last year? Does anything top that draft night?
I'd say probably being able to spend Christmas with our family. Usually it's pretty tough being in two separate places, either at Notre Dame and me being wherever I am. But being able to just have a one-stop shop for the family, just show up in Detroit and spend Christmas together was definitely special.
And you get to spend Thanksgiving together too.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
It is.
I love it. Well, there are certainly more holidays with family in your future. We're so glad to see you both here in Detroit and to kind of look back a year later after what was such an exciting night for you guys. We'll close with this. Julian, since you are just 1 year removed from that draft night, what is your advice to the players who are going to get selected tonight?
For me, I would say it definitely doesn't matter when your name gets called. Just be ready to play. Definitely take it serious. It's your job. And, just spending extra time in the weight room, rehab, whatever you need to do, take care of your body. We're not used to playing 16, 17 games, especially with some teams who didn't get a bye week last year. I think just being able to stay on top of your grind and really take this as your job, really doing everything you can to get on the field, provide for the team, and just becoming a better teammate. Really just work on yourself, just work on things you need to do, and I think you'd be in great shape.
Well, we are excited to see what guys join this Lions team along with you two, and join Ruby, of course, as well. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we'll be back with more in our draft show in just a little bit. Listen up, Lions fans. This year, it could be you who wins big at the draft. That's right, Miller Lite is giving away a year's supply of free beer and other great prizes like Lions gear to lucky fans. All you have to do to enter is tweet the hashtag #It'sMillerTime and hashtag #BeerForAYear sweeps, or go to MillerLite.com/LionsDraftDay for your chance to win.
The process has been great, and having a first round pick and picking high and know that you're going to be in position to acquire a really, really good football player definitely makes you excited.
Coach, welcome in to the draft show. How is draft week going for you? How's the nerves?
Actually, the nerves are pretty good. I'm sure, well, Brad's probably has a few more nerves than I do about it, but it's been really good, and it's been a lot more exciting than it has been nervous, or I've been more excited than nervous. Just man, the prospects that are out there and the possibilities, and just knowing who I'm working with. I mean, Brad's been outstanding, and Lance and Dorse and Dave Sears, and then certainly all the scouts along with the coaches. When you get all the input we've gotten and you mesh it all together and you get all the different opinions, it really helps you come to the best conclusion. So I feel great. I think we're going to be good either way, no matter who we come away with, really.
I love it. Well, you've been through many drafts before, but this is your first one as head coach. So how has this process been different?
Well, I'll tell you where it's different is, and Brad and I talk about this all the time, is you got to be real careful as to when you as the head coach or the GM give your opinion, because you don't want to sway anybody in the room. You want to give your opinion last so that you've listened to everybody, and not that we have people that would want to change their opinion. I think we have some people that are convicted enough in what they believe, but there is always that outside chance. So I think that's the one thing I've learned, because when I first got here and started talking about players, I noticed just like anything else, I can be very passionate and certainly give my opinion on, and you just got to be careful, because if you start pushing that enough, you may start pulling people a certain way that they don't necessarily want to go. You want honest feedback on how they feel about somebody. So I think that's been the biggest learning curve, which I picked up on quick, and Brad's been good with it, and there again, it's been good.
What have you observed from Brad watching him through this process? First time for him going through this as a GM. What have you seen from him?
Yeah, well, a number of things. He is, he's very driven, and as a matter of fact, I told him, I said, you can't keep this up. You're going to end up in the ground if you continue to go at the rate that you're going, because he has been grinding. I mean, he's been putting in the work early in the morning, late at night, and he's been as sharp as ever. That's what's crazy. I'm like, I don't know how you don't sleep and you're still just as sharp as ever, but and he's got great vision for players. And here's what I love. He is not a numbers guy. And what I mean by that is he is not swayed by the pro day numbers, by the prototype size. Now, does it come into play? Yes, it does. Where does it come into play? When you see a cornerback on tape that you really like, but he runs a 4.8, that's a problem. And no matter how much you love the guy, it's going to be hard to translate outside in the NFL as a starting cornerback. So, but he really relies on the tape, and he is adamant about, look at the tape. What does the tape tell you? And then does the pro day verify that, of the type of player that it really is? And so we're trying to find proven products, really. Now, it doesn't mean you're not going to take shots on talent at places in the draft, but he's been real good about that, just kind of keeping us just, hey, the answers are to the test, and that is on the tape. That's where the answers are all at. And then he's brought in, you could argue we were a little bit in the Stone Age here with just some of our technology as it pertains to the draft. I mean, he revamped everything in our draft room. I mean, we've got monitors all the way across the whole room. It's been outstanding. We've got everything from these HR tests, PAT test, we've got their size, we've got their measurements, we've got their pro day going, so you got every ounce of data you could possibly have on one player when you're talking about that player. And so, and he brought all that in. It's been great.
So all of that technology to be able to have those things in front of you during draft night, that's what's new this year.
Yeah, but then getting ready, the whole process of getting to that point, we have all that available. So when the area scout's talking about this player, and we're getting his input, then we're getting, Dave Sears' input from it, and Lance and all. Well, okay, how's this guy mentally? Boom. What's his character like? What is his personality? What is, how is he competitive? What, you got this whole area of data that you can just pull, and really it's just another resource. It kind of confirms, or it, or maybe it doesn't, as to what kind of person he is, how does he think, how smart does he process information, and that's just on top of the player that you see on tape. And but to have all that at your disposal when you are evaluating these players is invaluable. It really is. It's pretty good.
When you guys were hired, Rod Wood told us about how it was going to be a collaborative process. You and Brad were going to be able to get on the same page and make decisions together. Take us into the room of how that has played out and how you guys have been able to arrive at mutual decisions when it comes to draft prospects.
Yeah, it's been outstanding. It's been outstanding. And what I would tell you is basically Brad and I, we take all the input, we give our opinions at the end, but we take it all in, and there'll be, you know, there's already been a couple of these players that come up, and maybe they're not quite the perfect scheme fit for defensively, our coaches feel like. Or maybe the coach is like, but then the scouts, it's just, you know, I get that he's a scheme fit. We don't see the athlete they see, you know. And so between that, you know, Brad and I now, our job is to, all right, who's going to be best for us? We have to ultimately decide between the two of us who is going to be best for us. And, you know, sometimes, look, we want players that fit us and they fit our scheme and what we're trying to do. Certainly, we've talked about that from day one. However, when you watch on tape and you see a guy who has size, length, he has the numbers, he can run, and he's a football player on tape. I mean, this kid is a football player. It's hard to ignore that. And you want to find a place for that guy. And sometimes he and I have to make those decisions together. And there's been a couple of guys on the board where already, you know, Brad, you know, that's going to be, I know that that's going to be a hard fit for us. And so I know that when I'm like, hey, whoa, because I know he likes the guy and I like the guy. Well, we may have to kind of go that way, even though the coaches aren't 100% on board with it. Doesn't mean they dislike the player, but those are decisions he and I have to make, you know, and vice versa. I've been other ways where I'm like, look, I understand. I know the coaches kind of like it, but I get what the scouts are saying about the talent's a little lower. And Brad's like, whoa, I love this player. And so we kind of find a way to make it mesh. And look, ultimately, you're not going to make everybody happy, but our job is to find the best players for the Detroit Lions for now and for the future. And so it's been great.
Draft night, any traditions that you've got to do, any sort of routine that you got to put yourself through, or anything you're going to do to really soak in that first draft night as head coach?
No, nothing unusual, nothing that I'm thinking about. I would say this, I've already talked to Sheila about it and Rod as well, but I think we're going to have a little cornhole set.
All right, I like it.
Out in the hallway, outside the draft room, as we kind of get closer to do it, just to kind of, you know, alleviate any of our maybe nerves that some may have, and just kind of, you know, break the tension a little bit. So that may be a little something we do. That could be a tradition, you know, unless we don't do well, then I guess we'll throw that out the window. But I don't see that happening. So.
Well, when I'm not on the draft show, I'm going to come down and challenge you to a game of cornhole.
Come on, 2-on-2. Let's go. Or 1-on-1, either way.
Well, thank you so much, Coach, and best of luck in the draft.
All right, thank you, Tori. Appreciate it.
Well, I, for one, cannot wait to see what he and Brad Holmes do in the draft tonight. But just as important as what's happening in the draft rooms is what's happening in the communities they're in. The NFL is hosting its Draft-a-thon initiative again this year to support COVID-19 relief. And for that, we are bringing in Jen McCollum, the Lions Vice President of Community Relations. Jen, you were with us last year to talk about the very first Draft-a-thon. Give us a little refresher on what that is.
Yeah, hey Tori, great to see you. So the Draft-a-thon is the NFL's effort to provide support for nonprofits working to address needs around the pandemic. So this is the second year, as you mentioned. In the first year, fans donated more than $7 million to support the initiative, and we're anticipating even more this year.
Wow, that is incredible. How does it change this year in year two from last year?
So now that we have a year of knowledge and understanding of the needs of the community in response to the pandemic, the NFL has identified 4 issue areas to support with funds raised through the Draft-a-thon. So we're raising money for health disparities, bridging the digital divide, mental health, and food insecurity. And so the league has identified 4 organizations working in each of those spaces to support with the funds raised.
4 very important areas for us to be able to help out in. So for fans who are watching tonight, tell us how we can get involved.
Fans interested in supporting can go to relief.nfl.com. 100% of the contributions go directly to the organization. So it's a really cool and important initiative to be a part of. Also, fans can watch along live during the draft on the NFL accounts, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We'll have athletes and entertainers on talking about pandemic recovery and how people can get involved.
I love that this initiative has continued and that the NFL is continuing to make a difference in these communities. And the Draft-a-thon may have been the start of that last year, but it wasn't where it ended for the Lions. You've been leading up their community efforts all year long. How did the Lions continue to stay involved in the community after the Draft-a-thon?
Obviously, from an engagement perspective, we had to pivot like everyone else and go virtual with a lot of our engagements, but really we wanted to maintain our support across the board. We gave more than $2 million away over the last year, and so we wanted to show that we were still committed.
That is amazing. Jen, thank you for that perspective on this draft night of what really matters in life. We appreciate you joining us.
Thanks so much.
We'll be back with more in our draft show after this quick break.
Don't you think? Definitely.
I can say all I want to do, everything about, man, this is what, and I get it. I don't blame you fans one bit. I get it, man. You've seen these. There's no telling how many of these press conferences you've seen. I'm not going to stand up here and give you coach speak, but I'm going to tell you this, man. This team is going to freaking take on your identity. This city's been down, and it found a way to get up. It's found a way to overcome adversity. There's been enough hard times here, and you always found a way back up. And this team's going to freaking do the same thing, and every time we get hit, we're going to get back up stronger.
Brad, it is finally draft week. The moment is almost here. How are you feeling about everything?
We feel good. You know, I think we're in a good space right now. Good spot. Love where we're picking at. We've done a lot of work. The process has been probably even better than I initially planned, just because when you first get here, you get hired, you're still getting to know people, but, you know, working with great people, everybody's been excellent. You know, Dan has been about as good as you could have asked for, the entire coaching staff, you know, Ray Agnew, Dorsey, Lane. I mean, everybody's just been excellent. So feel really, really good where we're at right now.
I love it. I mean, it's been a while since you and I have sat down. When you came in, we were just talking about it. I mean, a lot has happened for you in the last couple of months since you and I last talked. What have those months of preparation been like, stepping in, taking over a staff, and then having to hit the ground running and get ready for a draft?
You know, that's a good question, because I will say the first time we sat down, you know, like I said, it was probably the first week I was in the building, and would have never thought that, you know, second or third week on the job, I'm making blockbuster trade, you know, for Jared Goff, and, you know, trading away Stafford with my former boss. And so would have never been able to write that story. But it's been fun. You know, it's been fun. It's been fast. But again, just the great people that we're working with. Sheila and the Ford family, Rod, everybody's been excellent, and they made the transition very, very smooth. But feel really good right now.
Well, you mentioned a couple of names as you were listing off everybody who has been helping. A couple of notable names that joined this staff after you did, Ray Agnew and John Dorsey. What roles have they played in helping you get ready for this draft?
Yeah, so Ray Agnew, he's been an excellent addition. Didn't really know exactly if I was going to be able to have him join right when we did, or if it was going to be after the draft. But when there was an opening to have him come in, especially right before free agency, me coming up on the college scouting side of things and his vast experience in the pro side of things was just an immediate boost. And especially him knowing kind of what the vision was coming from where I was, and the philosophy that I was trying to implement made it just that much smoother of a transition. And then same thing with John Dorsey, you know, is that Dorsey was a guy that we had a relationship, and I was going to follow what, didn't know when I was going to be able to have him come on board, and even if he wanted to, but, you know, as soon as that opportunity came, you know, he was so excited about it. And his experience, just team building and evaluation, and, you know, he's taught me so much just in this time span about, look, this is what I would have done differently this time around, or, you know what, just in case this happens, you know, you want to be prepared for this. And so those conversations I've had and those lessons that he's taught me has been tremendous in my development so far in this role.
And then you've got Dan. What have you learned about him and learned about working together as you guys have gotten ready?
Well, me and Dan are cut from the same cloth, and we're both, zero ego. We're very collaborative, and, we both love football, and we both want the best for the Lions. But Dan, I just can't speak enough from him. He's a special individual. I just can't wait to see when he gets all the guys and gets all the players with him, and, his impact that he's going to have on our team. But through this process, I couldn't have asked for, a better person. And not just he's an excellent coach, but he's an excellent human being. I mean, just it's so many areas I can name that he's made me better. And his willingness to want to be a part of the evaluation process. And, he brings so much passion and energy. And we all know about the passion and energy he brings, but incredibly smart, incredibly intelligent, the ideas that he comes with, the points he brings up, and makes you think. And it's like, oh, that was a great point, that you thought of. So Dan has been excellent. I always say it, I've told this story before, it's days where we've grinded for long meetings, on the weekends. And, I say, Dan, you don't have to come in if you don't want to. And, he's like, no, man, you know what I mean? Like, because I know he's got so much other stuff on his plate, but he's just been amazing and phenomenal coaching staff. I mean, everybody, all the assistant coaches have been excellent throughout the process. And again, I want to sound like a broken record, but it's been truly amazing being around great people.
Well, I think it's safe to say that he does feel the same way. We sat down with him, and another one of the things he told us about was some of the technology that you've implemented in the draft room and being able to pull up statistics and have their profiles right in front of you. Give us what insight you can without giving too much away about your process, but give us what insight you can about what you've changed there.
Yeah, and from a technology standpoint, for one, just the meetings with our scouts, that's been huge. And there was technology that we had to implement, not just from a Zoom technology and virtual meeting process, but from a film process. So there was technology that we implemented to allow just the streaming of video to be a lot more crisp and clean. That, it was a great feedback from the scouts that are living remotely from that aspect, from the use of analytics and statistics. I truly believe that a lot of stuff that we utilized when I was with the Rams was able to bring here. And then the analytics department here has been so great that they've evolved things that I brought from the Rams to make it even that much better. So, awesome. So anything from an analytics standpoint, and that's one of the things that I mentioned in the interview process to Sheila and Rod, that's going to be a big piece of what we do. And, the analytics isn't the end all be all, but I think it's a good accountability piece to kind of make you go back and look and see, are your eyes seeing something different? And let's just be sure.
Well, I won't ask you what you're going to do at number 7. We'll keep us all in suspense here. But let me ask you this. What characteristics do you love seeing in a player?
First of all, you want to have passionate players. You want to have players that have grit. We talk about it all the time. But if they're smart, passionate, instinctive, relentless, and explosive, those are the type of players that we're looking to acquire. And the players that we believe that will be available and, that cluster that we feel really, really good about at 7, we do believe that they have all of those.
Well, we can't wait to see what happens, but I do hear there might be some sort of cornhole happening when you guys aren't busy evaluating with the draft. What's up with that?
I tell you what, Dan has been talking about his cornhole skills like from day one, so it's a lot of pressure on him more than me. But no, it's great. Rod Wood did an excellent gesture, and you got us these custom-made cornholes,
awesome.
And it's going to be a lot of fun. And that's what we're about this year is that we're going to have fun. And we're all about football. We're all about ball, and we want to just get football players, and it's not an old school approach or anything like that. We're going to continually evolve and probably practice some innovation in a lot of different ways. But the main thing is let's just have fun and let's just get football players.
All right, who's your money on in the personnel department as the best cornhole player?
Within the personnel department, I actually feel pretty good about myself, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually going to feel pretty good about myself, and I hope Dan hears this.
All right. Give him a run for his money.
I'll try to do my best, but I heard he's pretty good, so we'll just see.
Well, Brad, thank you so much for the time, and best of luck on draft night.
Thanks, Tori. Appreciate it.
Don't you think? Definitely.
I can say all I want to do, everything about, man, this is what, and I get it. I don't blame you fans one bit. I get it, man. You've seen these. There's no telling how many of these press conferences you've seen. I'm not going to stand up here and give you coach speak, but I'm going to tell you this, man. This team is going to freaking take on your identity. This city's been down, and it found a way to get up. It's found a way to overcome adversity. There's been enough hard times here, and you always found a way back up. And this team's going to freaking do the same thing. And every time we get hit, we're going to get back up stronger.
Welcome back in to the Detroit Lions Draft Show presented by Miller Lite. I'm your host, Tori Petry, coming at you from the Lions practice facility here in Allen Park. It is going to be an action-packed night of the NFL Draft. The Lions are picking at pick number 7, and we will discuss that more in just a little bit with a very special guest. But this is our draft show. We want you guys to get involved. We don't just want you watching, we want you participating. So that's why we are asking you to go ahead and start submitting some questions about the draft and about who the Lions could be picking for our special guest in just a little bit. So submit those questions in the comments on Facebook or YouTube, wherever it is that you guys are watching from. We're going to be pulling from those comment sections, and you can see your question appear on our draft show a little bit later on tonight when our special guest joins us to talk about what the Lions might do a little bit later on tonight. I know you guys have been playing GM a little bit in that comment section as well, and we want you to play GM with us, but we actually want you to go ahead and go to DetroitLions.com/playgm, and you get to weigh in on all of these different topics, and we'll get your take a little bit later on in the show. You can scan that QR code on the screen. It'll take you right to the website where you can weigh in on who your favorite Lions draft pick of all time is. You can weigh in on which player you think the Lions should take tonight. You can even weigh in on if the Lions should go offense or defense here in the first round of the draft. There's also a question on whether you think the Lions should trade, and if they do, should they trade up or should they trade down? There are a lot of different options that could go down tonight in this draft, and we are waiting to find out what exactly that will be. We will have a special guest on a little bit later to discuss that with us as well. So we hope you guys are going to stick around so that you can hang out with our special guest along with us as well. You guys are joining us virtually, but we've also got a group joining us over at Ford Field. They are in the Miller Lite tap room right now watching this draft party presented by Miller Lite. So let's check in with our friends over at Ford Field.
Thanks, Tori. I'm Chris Fritching, your public address announcer here at Ford Field for all Lions home games. And we're here at the Miller Lite tap room at Ford Field for the 2021 Detroit Lions NFL Draft Party presented by Miller Lite. You know what? The anticipation has been building ever since we opened the doors of the Miller Lite tap room here at Ford Field. We've got Lions premium partners coming into the building, and you know what? They're excited for a number of reasons. One, they haven't been back to Ford Field in quite some time, but two, it's the anticipation of not knowing who the Lions are going to pick with that 7th pick in the first round. It's really exciting, and our premium partners are going to be able to hopefully give some insight as to who they want to be able to draft a little bit later on this evening. I've got here with us Amber Angona from Clarkston, Angona Construction. Thank you so much, Amber, for being here. How you doing tonight?
Thank you so much for having us. I'm doing great. This is such a great event. It's so great to be back in Detroit and be able to come to Ford Field. And yeah, it's just, this is beautifully decorated, and we're just happy to be here.
We appreciate your time coming down here. We're going to have a great time tonight watching the draft, finding out who the Lions are going to draft for the next step to take, and hopefully winning some more football games and winning that NFL, the NFC North Division. But when it's all said and done, I got to ask you, you've been a Lions fan, otherwise you wouldn't be here. How long have you been a Detroit Lions fan?
I have been a Lions fan for a very long time, since I was a teenager, which was a little time ago.
Okay.
But I back into the Silver Dome ages, and I mean, I just love the Lions. I love the experience. I love the fans. I mean, it's just a great time.
Let me put you on the spot for two questions. Number one, you've seen the Lions for a long time, Silver Dome, and now here at Ford Field. Who is your all-time favorite Detroit Lions player?
I would have to say my favorite is Lomas Brown. He's an all-around great guy. got to meet him a few times, and he was a great player back in the day. And I want to say Barry Sanders as well.
All right, now I'm going to really put you on the spot. Okay, you're here for the NFL draft. Lions pick 7th currently in the first round. I want you to put your draft cap on, okay? Don't mess up your hair, but put your draft cap on. And I want you to pretend like you are Brad Holmes, our general manager, Dan Campbell, our head coach. You've got the opportunity to find a player that could come in and impact what the Lions are going to do this upcoming fall, okay? You got to take one name and put it on that card and walk that card up to NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. Who is that player that the Lions are going to draft this year, the 7th pick overall?
Well, Mr. Goodell, I think it should be Michael Parsons.
Michael.
I think we need some defense. It'd be great to see a quarterback somewhere in there. I don't know if that needs to go first round, but that would be my pick.
Micah Parsons, linebacker out of Penn State.
Yep.
We're going to find out very shortly if you're right.
I'm so excited.
Have you made those projections before? Have you been successful in projections in years past?
Usually not, no. Sometimes it just comes out of left field and they just, you're like, oh, okay. But yeah, so here's hoping that we get just somebody good and somebody in there that can make a difference.
Sounds great. Amber Angona, Alliance Premium Partner, Angona Construction. She came down from Clarkston. Amber, thanks for being here with us tonight. Enjoy the remainder of the night.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. We also want to thank Miller Lite for being a partner for tonight and all season long. You know what? Again, the anticipation, the excitement is building here. We want that clock to hurry up and start. Can we start this draft any earlier? You know what? You're probably going to tell me no. So in the meantime, let's send it back to Tori in Allen Park.
I hope you guys at home are having as much fun as they are over at the Miller Lite tap room. Hopefully you've got some Miller Lites by your side as you prepare for the draft to kick off at 8 p.m. It is definitely going to be an exciting night. We've been getting you guys involved all night. So let's ask you this question here. We've got a trivia question for you. We want to know if you know the answer to this one. Which school in the history of the NFL draft has produced the most Lions draft prospects? So think long and hard about that one, about which school you think the Lions have drafted the most players out of. Chime in the comments, send in your answers to that trivia question. Let us know if you're smart enough to know the answer to that question. We also want to check in on our poll results, because you guys have been chiming in and playing GM over on DetroitLions.com. We want to see what you're thinking. So I want to get your take on these questions that we've posed for you guys. So let's turn to these poll results and see what you guys are thinking there. We want to know if you think the Lions should draft an offensive or defensive player at number 7 overall. You guys are thinking offense. I think that's a really smart decision because this draft is so strong at the offensive side of things up at the top of the draft. You know, we've talked a little bit about this on DetroitLions.com. I've talked about it on our Instagram takeover on the Detroit Lions Instagram account today. But this draft is so strong at the offensive positions in this draft. So it makes a lot of sense for the Lions to go offense if they stay at that number 7 pick. We'll see if a trade is in play at all. But the defensive value is there later in the first round. So if they end up trading back, I could see them going defense in this first round. But I'm with you guys. I think you guys make some pretty good GMs there choosing offense in the first round tonight. All right, let's go to our next question and see what you guys are thinking for this next poll question. We want to know which offensive player you'd want the Lions to select at number 7 overall. Some tight racing there between Penei Sewell and Jamar Chase. But Penei Sewell is the winner there as far as it goes with you guys. You guys, 44% of you are choosing Penei Sewell if you're taking that draft pick at pick number 7. But 34% are choosing Jamar Chase. I think both of those things are very smart moves for the Lions. Kyle Pitts didn't get as many votes. Justin Fields, not as many either. We'll see how many quarterbacks are on the board when it comes time for the Lions to pick. I've talked about this a little bit on DetroitLions.com as far as the quarterback position goes, but I would be a little bit surprised if we saw the Lions take a quarterback tonight, but it's certainly not out of the question. I love the pick of an offensive lineman. I think it really shores things up for that run game, and it allows the Lions to protect Jared Goff and allow him to do his work back there. And it really helps out DeAndre Swift as well. So let's move on to your next question and see what you guys are thinking as far as which defensive player you want to see the Lions draft in the first round. A few options here, and it looks like you guys are voting Micah Parsons. That's a popular answer. A lot of you guys are chiming in and asking to see if the Lions are going to draft Micah Parsons. We will find out. Not sure if they go with him at pick number 7, maybe a possibility if they trade down. A lot of these guys are possibilities if they trade down. And, you know, we'll move on to the next question here. This one is, who's your favorite first round pick in Lions history? A lot of good options there, guys. We've got Barry Sanders, Billy Sims, Calvin Johnson, Matthew Stafford. You guys voted Barry Sanders. It'd be tough to choose anybody else other than Barry Sanders, but certainly some really great options there as well. So now it is time to welcome in our special guest. He is joining us virtually, and we are so happy to have him here today. We are joined by the man himself, Barry Sanders. Barry, thank you so much for hanging out with us today on our draft show.
Hey, Tori, it's great to be here. How's it going?
It is going well. We are getting set. We are so excited for this draft to kick off at 8 p.m. What is it like for you watching these guys go through something that you once went through yourself?
You know, I feel like I'm a little nervous as well for these guys. You know, I feel a few little butterflies. You know, because obviously there's a lot riding on this pick. You know, and you know, these kids are coming from, you know, different programs, you know, and different philosophies, and you know, they've had great success in college, but they're going to experience nothing. They've experienced nothing like they're going to experience in the NFL. You know, the kind of pressure and the kind of competition. So there's just you know, they feel the butterflies too. You know, and it's just an exciting time for everyone.
Absolutely. Take us into your draft night, Barry. What was going through your mind? What were those butterflies like for you?
Oh man, I was a nervous wreck, but I was at home with my family in Wichita. I remember ESPN sent Dan Patrick out to interview me. You know, it was exciting. I was nervous. I was restless. You know, I pretty much knew that the Lions were going to pick me. Coach Fonts had told me in my workout that if I came out of school, then they would pick me. But the bottom line is, it was exciting to be coming into the NFL as a running back in this league, and being able to play against players that I could only dream about. You know, so I experienced a lot of different emotions, but it was certainly excitement. And really looking forward to coming into the league and coming into a new challenge.
All right, Barry. Well, we have been asking the fans to submit questions for you in our comment section all night long. So let's turn to some of these fan questions. This first question is from Gary Heitman, and he wants to know, Barry, as a fan, who do you want the Lions to take at number 7?
Oh, well, listen, as an offensive player, you know, I look at the fact that you know, we lost Kenny Golladay, and that's a big hole that we have to fill. But also, you look at the other side of the ball. You know, we weren't very good on defense. You know, we were at the low, you know, part of the league. You know, in run defense and in pass defense. So if you can get a good, you know, linebacker, I think you can't go wrong there. If you think you can get a difference maker on offense, and there's someone there, then you have to do that. You know, but I know the favorite is the kid from Penn State, the Parsons kid. You know, so that's really, you know, as much as I can get into the analysis of it. I don't know. I can't think of, you know, and obviously it depends on what happens before your pick. You know, but I don't think you can go wrong with the Parsons kid.
All right, I like it. Let's turn to another fan question here. It's popping up on your screens. This one is from Monica. She says, when is your son going to play in the NFL, Barry?
I'm not sure what son she's referring to. My older boy, BJ, who played at Stanford, you know, he's enjoying his job. It's not in the NFL, but he's working hard. he actually works for EA Sports, so he loves that job. And then my other sons, my youngest son plays, but he's only 14, so I don't know what the future holds for him. So we'll see. I'm not sure what's in store for the younger Sanders boys as far as the NFL. That'd be great if they did make it though.
I love it. You were at a Lions game with your son a couple years ago where you guys were both working for EA Sports, kind of doing some Madden evaluating, adjusting players' Madden scores. So I know you guys had a lot of fun doing that together.
Yeah, I mean, BJ, he's an official Madden rating adjuster is what it is. He's a rating adjuster. So he comes out to the games. The players oftentimes will give him an earful because, they want to raise their Madden rating. That's very important to a lot of these current players. So he's sort of involved in that, and it's really fun for him and for a lot of the guys.
All right, Barry, of course, we had to get a DeAndre Swift question in here for you. This one is from Chris. He says, Barry, have you given Swift your running back technique advice yet?
I haven't spoken to DeAndre, but I like what I saw last year. I saw some explosion and some quickness, and I thought he adjusted pretty well to the Lions game. I mean, I'm sorry, to the pro game. He averaged, he averaged over 4 yards a carry. So I thought I saw some good things when he had the ball in his hand. And I think, the jump from your first year to your second year is always meaningful and important. And it'll really kind of show you what kind of player he's really going to be going forward. So I'm excited to see what he does this year. But yeah, I thought it was definitely a thumbs up for his rookie season. So I think his future's bright.
Well, let me ask you this. Take us into kind of a running back's mindset here. If the Lions were to go offensive line with this number 7 pick, how does that make a running back feel?
That normally makes the running back feel great. There's some really good linemen here that are projected to go high in the draft. And so obviously, that's essential when you look at today's game and just how important it is to protect your quarterback, to protect the line of scrimmage. And so if you can find a good offensive lineman as well, that you've graded well, that you've done your homework on, then, that can be a big benefit as well.
I like it. It's certainly a possibility at pick number 7. It has been one that has been in the conversation for the Lions since the beginning. Barry, before you hopped on, we asked the fans a trivia question. We asked them if they knew, if they knew which college team had the most Lions drafted from them. So which college team drafted the most Lions? So which team do you think has the most Lions that came from it in the draft?
I mean, I'm going to go with Michigan.
It's a good guess. It's a good guess. It would make sense here in the Midwest. The answer is actually USC. That one surprised me a little bit. I didn't see that one coming.
Wow. Really? Okay. That is a little bit of a surprise. I mean, I played with a couple guys from USC. Rodney Peete was from USC, and Johnny Morton was from USC. There was a receiver that came shortly after me, Williams, I think, or something like that. But okay, yeah. I'm now that I line them up, yeah, we've had quite a few players from USC, but I would not have guessed they would be the first of all draft picks from the Lions. I mean, that's wow. Okay.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been my guess either, but we got one more fan question for you, Barry, before we let you go. This one is from Shane. He says, during your pro career, what rookie do you remember coming to the team and why?
What rookie do I remember coming to the team?
Yeah, what rookie stuck out to you when you were in your pro career? What rookie coming to the team stuck out to you?
Oh, I would probably say Herman Moore. When we got Herman, I hadn't seen a guy that size who was that agile. And he was just a fantastic athlete. He had been a high jumper in college. And he was such a matchup nightmare for defensive backs, and he proved it throughout his career. but he's probably the guy that I would say in my mind stood out. I can't remember if he was 2 or 3 years after me. I know it was soon after me that we drafted Herman, and our offense obviously just exploded and went even further once he got here. So he would be probably at the top of my list of guys like that.
Well, he sure worked out as he grew in his NFL career. Barry, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight, for giving us a little perspective on your NFL career and what it is like to be a rookie on draft night. We appreciate you hanging out with us.
Okay, Tori, thanks for having me. Take care.
Of course. Guys, that does it for our first night of our draft party presented by Miller Lite. Don't forget, though, we will be back here tomorrow night at 6 p.m. We'll be breaking down everything that happens tonight. Hopefully have some interviews for you tomorrow as well. And then we'll talk about what the Lions should do on night 2 and on day 3 of the draft. We appreciate you hanging out with us here on our draft party presented by Miller Lite. Enjoy the draft tonight, and we will see you tomorrow.